Bigfoot Hobbies presents Brookville Sidewalk in the Village of Martin's Additions. But first, a poem, July, air quality purple, rolling climate apocalypse, concerned about food systems, so became a master gardener. What if Serviceberry Island was an island? What if my short story about fleeing DC as World War III begins comes true, biking from Bigfoot's garage as refugees up the CNO? What does Independence Day mean in a world built on corruption and racism? Purchasing freedom for myself doesn't break the system of slavery. Started as a student, growing my own food, going off grid. I'm coming back to teach others, though. Money is a great blinder. Don't gain the world and lose your humanity. Power corrupts absolutely. Humble yourself, praise the work of others. Don't burn bridges on your way out. Appreciate others, always. Going out like the dinosaurs, topsoil eroding, biodiversity collapse. 30% of birds are gone already. Trying to be free like a bird, they lock my friend Bird up. Remembering to stay joyful, air quality purple. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Village of Martin's Additions. This is the recap of our Brookville Sidewalk project that we have just completed. I am super excited. After 6 years of planning and 4 years of work, we have completed a Brookville Sidewalk project. Brookville Road is a state highway that cuts from Western Avenue along the border of Washington, D.C. to East-West Highway in Montgomery County. And that is where the Village of Martin's Additions is located. I have been the village manager here for the last 4 years, and this is kind of the capstone of my tenure here. So I'm super excited to announce and show you all this sidewalk project that we've been working on this year. Before I can do that, though, I want to thank everyone that has been involved in getting this project across the finish line. The village council here deserves a great deal of praise for prioritizing, funding, and voting for this project. Thank you to the Walkability Task Force that sounded the alarm in 2020 about the condition of this state road. We could not have done this project without the support of engineer Jason Azar, traffic engineer Joe Cutro, and Paul Dorr of the traffic group. We want to thank the 16 property owners along this section of sidewalk. I know construction can be painful. And I want to thank Chevy Chase Village as well as Chevy Chase Section 3 for their cooperation and helping me through this entire process here. We have a great appreciation for the countless residents who supported this project as well. Thank you to the State Highway Administration, especially those that actually did help and didn't just block us, specifically Derek Gunn and Carol Rainey. And lastly, thank you to our contractor. You will see some of their work here today. Superior Facilities and Management Services for their quality work. And thank you to the many contractors who supported us that I forgot to name here today. Okay, here you see the conditions of the sidewalk before we began. You will notice that there are lots of cracks and deteriorating driveway aprons and all sorts of issues. This is very narrow. There is no gutter for stormwater, so stormwater just piles over the sidewalk. And there's no curb. At many points, it's even with the roadway, or even 1 or 2 inches at max. Very, very narrow here. And this was a long process getting this project off the ground. We have built a timeline over the last 6 years of work that has gone into getting this sidewalk project improved along Brookville Road, which is a state highway connecting Western Avenue, which is in DC, the edge of DC, to East-West Highway in Montgomery County. Everything on this side of the street here is the Village of Martin's Additions. In 2020, the Walkability Task Force was formed to address pedestrian safety issues, including the Brookville sidewalk. They conducted a walkability survey later that same year. The issue that attracted the most comment was Brookville Road, described as difficult for walking due to its narrow sidewalks, which are close to vehicle traffic, too low in relation to the street, in poor repair, and further obstructed by vegetation. In 2021, the Walkability Task Force 2021 report and recommendations called the Brookville sidewalk the elephant in the room and a pedestrian nightmare, and recommended a new sidewalk and additional crosswalks across Brookville Road. In 2022, the traffic group was hired, and I want to thank Paul Dorr of the traffic group to develop a conceptual plan for rebuilding this section of Brookville Road sidewalk. And the Highway Administration was contacted that same year. In 2023, we hired Clark Azar and Associates. I want to thank Jason Azar, who's been super helpful throughout this entire process, to be our engineer for the project. We conducted a traffic study to support the case for an additional controlled four-way stop at Bradley Lane with an additional crosswalk across Brookville Road connecting to Section 3 of Chevy Chase. And we conducted a land survey of the entire sidewalk at that time as well. In 2024, we completed the sidewalk design, drafted easements needed from 6 adjacent property owners, and conducted a community engagement process, review of the plans, and started meeting with residents one-on-one. In 2025, we received waivers from the State Highway Administration to narrow the sidewalk at specific tight points. We also received the State Highway Administration's conditionally approved permit, conducted a successful bidding process to hire our paving contractor, which was approved by the council on September 30th of 2025. And then we broke ground in 2026, and this project takes 4 months. Here's a bunch of the pictures of that project. Traffic control, safety first, and then saw cutting and removing. Framing. The new sidewalk. You can see how far we're expanding the sidewalk here. Lots of design details, walls, storm drains. And then comes the concrete, which we test first for its quality. This is how a sidewalk is made, one little section at a time. This took us 4 months to complete. And this is 5 suburban blocks along Brookville Road. A huge thank you to our crew. They are artisans. Did incredible work here. You can see how many cars are driving past us. We did have traffic control throughout the entirety of this project, and we have about 7,000 cars that drive down this road every single day. I really want to show this in its entirety. I'm so impressed with the skill and amount of detail that goes into this. I'll mention some of the complications we ran into and some of the engineered solutions we came up with as we walk down the final sidewalk here in a minute. I want to thank our village council members who have been nothing but supportive, and our engineer again. Just incredible work here. This is block 5, and this is the beginning of block 4. You can see it's about twice as wide as it was before. And this is a little sped up here, but we have dealt with details like these brick walls, building retainer walls here for the residents to hold up their embankments. This one we even clad in brick for them. We did get a waiver to go down below 5 feet at several points, including this one. Just finishing up here. New warning strips. And this is block 3. We did replace several sprinklers, including here along this residence fence. Covered the cost of that. This looks way better now. We did install a new 4-way stop at Bradley Lane, and here's another crosswalk that we redid. We installed these drains because the yard here to the right is a little bit lower than the new sidewalk. And this is block 2. This is the largest block, and we solved quite a few problems here, including some header curbs and some retaining walls. There's a water meter right here that was abandoned that we set into the new sidewalk and new elevation. We have multiple telephone poles here in a row that we had to get waivers to go around. It cost us over $100,000 to move a telephone pole, so we opted for the waiver here. We also purchased a number of easements along this block, went around these steps, went around this water meter as well. Nice detail there. Fixed this brick wall to the right. We're able to fit this sidewalk barely in around this tree. Every driveway apron, every brick and stone, lead walk, set in nicely. This is a very wide sidewalk, 5 feet plus the top of curb. Remember to have empathy. There you go. And this is the final block, block 1. Very happy with this. This is the block that has the 2 storm drains in it. We did have a little delay as we rebuilt those storm drains. Storm drains are over 100 years old and falling apart, and we know they're undersized, but they are owned and maintained by the county. We did get a permit for sediment control during construction. And this is the village office and village strip of businesses up here. Brookville Market, Olympia Cafe. Here's the second storm drain. And we're done. Congratulations, everyone. Okay, that concludes our project. I do want to say a couple things before we end here. One, walkability is super important for our health, and sidewalk and public safety go hand in hand. We have had multiple car crashes over this non-existent curb before. And the last thing I want to say is it shouldn't be this hard to build things. This took way too long. The system is broken to build things in this country and in this state. The infrastructure grade that Maryland receives from the American Society of Civil Engineers is a C. So we end up with lots of problems this year. The amount of details, the amount of people at the State Highway Administration telling us, no, we couldn't do this. No, we had to jump through all these hoops. That's ridiculous. It's been quite radicalizing for me. And we have to do better. We have to solve problems, and you have to get out of the way of people that are trying to solve problems. I believe in walkability. I believe this sidewalk's going to be around for 100 years and it's going to serve people. It's already serving people. And so I'm super proud of that and super proud of the work we did here. And I hope other people will follow suit.